Hi, I'm Cody. I'm going to show you how to do a service on a 2010 Ford Escape 3-liter V6. So if you're watching this, you probably don't open your hood much, so it looks like dirty. Look at clamps, make sure your fluids are up. Probably a good time to top up your washer fluid before you run out and you need it. Look for something loose, look for any leaks. Make sure your levels are well. You don't see any oil seeping out anywhere. Go over the other side. Your battery anchored well. Your terminals aren't corroded or loose. Make sure everything's tight. Random things like covers, connections are on. Your brake levels well. Intake. Make sure your intakes are tight. If you loosen that off, it's not gonna have a good day. Transmission fluid. It's not running, so it's gonna be high. I know that's fine. You're supposed to check that when it's running and at running temperature. This will pull the intake off. Airbox. Seal's coming off. We'll have to glue that back on. Air filter's dirty. They come out really easy in this one. Make sure your surface area is clean, and if your airbox is full of bugs and debris, make sure you vacuum that out. It was already vacuumed out, but it was full of stuff. It doesn't seat perfect on there, so make sure it's in there so you don't suck dust. And we'll fix that. Before you put your air filter back in, make sure your mass airflow is plugged in okay. If you didn't, you'll have some faults. And if you look at it, you gotta make sure it's nice and clean. It looks really clean on this one. If it's not, you're probably sucking in debris or you have a lot of blow-by. Cover drain it. Okay, so we need to drain it.
This is the shop cat, Saki. Don't trip over that pussy.
Not today.
So what are we doing?
I'm gonna pull the drain plug. I'm not sure what size it is. It's not the 14 I thought it was.
That's the drain plug.
That is your engine oil drain plug. Probably a 15 or 16. It's probably metric because it's a Ford. Okay, so after your engine's been running for a little bit, or after you get back from a trip to the store or whatnot, it's nice to do it when it's warm. It drains better and more fully. That one's on there.
Put the pan right underneath there.
Yeah. Make sure it's not red underneath, because there's going to be some
pressure. It's gonna shoot out.
spouting of oil.
It's going to gush.
Probably have some sort of rubber gloves on.
Should you have gloves on?
No, I'm good.
Ooh, look at that gusher.
Without getting too wet.
She's really gushing.
It is really gushing. And if it wasn't warm, it wouldn't come out that nice.
Ah.
So make sure your drain plug seal is in good order. If it's marked up or it looked like it was leaking when you pulled it off, either get a whole new plug or you can change the seals depending on how the system you have. Let's get that ready to go back in case you forget to put the plug in when you put oil in, and then you gotta put it in right away. You're not fumbling more with it when you need to.
It's not gushing nearly as fast now.
You see a filter over there somewhere?
A filter. This is my first time. I don't really know.
Okay.
What am I looking for? Oh, I think I see it.
Filter.
Maybe. I don't know.
Probably. Might be black, might be white, might be orange.
I see something black with a white sticker on it.
Yeah, that's it right there. Right above this
Yeah.
O2 sensor.
Oh, is that what that is?
So this is the exhaust.
Yeah.
It's really hot, don't touch it.
Okay.
'Cause it'll hurt.
And that's the oil filter.
Yeah, that's loose.
Is that gonna gush too?
You'll get about a cup full of oil out of there.
So don't turn it upside down when you're pulling it out.
You try not to, but it happens. Yeah. So yeah, that'll burn you.
Okay, wear gloves. Don't touch the exhaust.
I have a drain pan, so I gotta wait.
So can you remind me why there's oil in an engine and why it's important for it to be clean?
The oil serves as a friction inhibitor, and also it helps cool the engine, and it helps lubricate everything that needs to be lubricated. I don't know how much more detail.
Why does it get dirty?
Engines get dirty because nothing's a perfect seal and nothing's perfectly clean. So you are going to get contaminants through your intake, through your filter. So when we change the filter, there's little bits of dirt and sand get in there, or a fly or a wasp. I don't know. Something will get in there because it happens. But every time you open a system and close it, you're going to have some sort of contaminants in it. And that, and between the oil when it's lubricating your cylinder walls, so when your pistons are going up and down, producing your power, there's piston rings and oil wiper seals. They work really well to the point where it still leaves oil on the outside of the cylinder walls, and every time your piston comes up and down, there's contaminants still on the wall, and then your wipers wipe that back down into your oil. And then that oil goes in and it goes through your system and your filter catches it eventually. So between the internal combustion part and external factors, you're going to have contaminants coming in, and it just gets oil. The dirty side. But it also breaks down. Oil will break down over time from the constant pressure it sees and it being forced through little orifices and small spaces. So the oil won't be as efficient as it was when you put it in. So it may look clean, but it won't be because it's been used for so many hours or kilometers. It breaks down. So you can choose to sample your oil instead of just changing it at regular intervals, but it'll cost you probably more for the sampling and how to read it than the $20 or $30 in oil you're going to change your oil with.
Well, it sounds to me like this is almost done dripping down here.
Probably right. It's on an angle.
I put the plug back in.
Put it in a hole, yeah. Let's see.
It's kind of the other direction. Yeah. Down a bit to the left. Oh, yeah, right. Now up. Now towards me a bit. There you go. Teamwork. Get it in the hole, Cody.
Oh, I can't see from this end.
You're doing great.
No, I'm not.
I don't have a glove, but I can help. I can see it from here.
I can do it from over here.
I can see. Nice.
Don't over tighten.
Okay.
Like it was.
It was over tight
The
before.
plug was over tight and the filter's loose.
Oh, that's good to know.
I touched it. It was loose. One little ugga-dug, I guess.
About that tight?
About that tight. This one will probably get messy.
So as soon as you loosen off the filter, it starts to drip.
On this one, yeah. It's on an angle, so it'll drain out what's in that little part of the system. And they let you do it. So if it's too hot, you probably don't want to do it quite yet. But put some rubber gloves on. I just took mine off so it doesn't get dirty.
Ouch. Is it hot?
No. On this cool little filter tray, there's a filter holder. Let's it drain.
Handy. Play with me.
Play with you.
Play with me.
You're getting very dirty on the ground.
I'm a dirty girl.
Yeah, you are.
I'm wearing my dirty clothes just for this.
Good call. Okay. New filter. It's got the O-ring. Make sure the O-ring's on there. Okay, similar to, hopefully exactly like the old one. And it is. Actually the same gold filter. 57 or 7502.
Ooh.
Okay, so what you can do is you wipe oil on your new filter, or you cheat and you stamp it on the old one. Give it a wipe, make sure it's got a good prime. And
Okay.
then put it back on. Okay, good thing to do is look to where it seats, because sometimes the O-ring stays on the engine side, and if you double gasket it, usually it doesn't hold. You'll fire the engine up and it'll just shoot oil everywhere. Sometimes it'll hold, because I've done oil changes.
So you're referring to the O-ring that's on the other filter. You want to make sure that the old O-ring comes off with the other filter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes it'll stay on the engine side
I
and
hear
it'll
you.
cause a lot of
And
problems.
then you'll have a double ring.
No, you got a
Alright.
double ring. issue going on.
Okay. So what do we wipe the oil off the engine with?
Whatever you got.
Paper towel?
Sure. Paper towel is cheap and plentiful.
Okay.
At the moment. It wasn't a little while ago.
COVID.
So there's a rule of thumb when it comes to tightening in a oil filter. Just a generic rule where when you're spinning it on, you feel it touch. I did mention that you feel it touch. So you're turning it on and then you can feel the O-ring touch the engine side surface, and then you go 3/4 of a turn more.
Okay.
Or you just do it hand tight. I haven't done a lot of them, I just do it by feel. If you put a wrench on it and tighten it up, the guy, whoever has to pull it off next time, isn't going to be a happy camper.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess you learn that the hard way. I used to be a filter guy. I used to work at a quick lube. It was a good experience. Learned how to deal with people. Learned how to deal with a lot of different engine types and changing oil. And we also did transmission flushes and front rear diffs and small little repairs like that. But just start in the basement. You go in the dungeon and you're just dropping oil and changing filters all day. And then you graduate and you go upstairs. You get to talk to the customers and encourage or upsell air filters and wiper blades and junk like that.
Right. How are my wiper blades? How do you know if they need to be replaced? Only if they suck.
Usually the customer will tell you, but it's a good practice to check them anyway. But you'll look at them, and if you see little chewy marks or rough marks or pieces of them missing, you know it's time to change them. But these ones look pretty good.
Nice.
They start falling apart. Okay, getting back to external contaminants and keeping your engine and oil clean. Make sure your funnel's clean and you wipe around your oil fill. Unless it looks like when you wipe it around, you're going to bring more contaminants in than bring them out. There's a lot of times you'll see on a lot of city vehicles that are stop-start, they don't really get the warm. You'll see a collection of white moisture and white slimy stuff on your oil fill, or even on your dipstick. It'll fill up with some creamy white shit. That's just that's water getting into your oil and mixing in. It's a bad thing, but it's not really a bad thing. If you don't have a lot of highway kilometers, you don't let your engine warm up all the time, you will have that expand contract condensation build up into your engine and at the top side. So that's where it collects, where your moisture will bead. So if you don't let your engine warm up for long periods of time, that moisture doesn't get evaporated. I don't know, something like that. But if you see that, it's not a huge deal. But when you pull your stick and all your oils like that, that's a problem. You probably have your coolant getting in there, coolant getting in your engine, but that's something else. If you find issues like that, you'll have to keep digging with other videos from people.
So how do you know what kind of oil to put in it?
Well, you can look it up, but a lot of the times it's on your oil fill cap.
Perfect.
A lot of the times. And if it's not, it's in your owner's manual. And if it's not, You look it up. This one's a 520 synthetic, whatever. This is what Napa gave me. And it's at 4.5 liters. And usually if you go into one of the parts places or the local dealer on whatever it is you're running, you say, I need an oil and a filter for this, whatever unit you're running. And they'll give it to you. They know how much you need and they'll know what your filter you need. All right. Plugs in, plugs tight, filling oil.
Is there a measuring thing on the side of the jug?
There is.
Handy.
Pretty much go to whatever, the 4 liter mark or a little more.
So I think the next time we do an oil change, you should film me doing it.
That's true.
You could tell me what to do.
I can do that. That sounds good. Okay, there's some roughly half a liter still in there, but that's good enough to run it and then check your fluid level. So when we start the unit, we're going to not rev the engine. We're just going to fire it up, let it idle for 30 seconds. And in those 30 seconds, you're going to look underneath and make sure nothing's leaking. Make sure your plug's tight and something didn't happen to get in there when you tightened it up, and your filter's tight, and make sure something didn't get between the seal and the mating surface and it leaks. That's the important thing. And the worst thing that I've had a few times is you fire it up and you're like, oh, it sounds good, and then you look down and you see the pool of oil getting bigger, and you're just like, fuck. You either double gasketed your filter or you fretted your plug in or something silly like that. Okay. Do you want me to start?
Do you want me to start it?
Yeah, you want me to do it. You can watch for leaks.
I can watch for leaks.
Okay. Drain pans here for me.
Okay. Okay.
Starting.
I don't see any leaks. Okay. Nice. All right, so you were saying something about needing to glue the little thing on the air filter cover? Yeah. What kind of glue are we going to use for that?
Whatever we have.
Let's go take a look. All right. I don't know. Got wood glue. Conduit solvent cement, PVC cement. That's probably not going to do it. Gray pipe joint compound. Gasketing cement and stove sealer. It is a gasket. I don't know that we have the right kind of glue. What's this? Super tough contact cement.
Cast iron.
Super tough contact cement.
Yeah, that'll work.
Or rubber cement for rubber
Same thing.
repairs.
That's with the tire seal kit here.
Oh,
It goes with this.
I see.
This will work.
Okay.
Not next to this. Same. Tough guy.
Tough guy.
Okay, well, without reading the instructions, most contact cement, you clean the surfaces. You clean surfaces and put on this gasket's fun.
Is it?
Sort of. It's not in the right spot. clean surfaces and you apply it on both sides and you let it get tacky before you put it on. And then the contact cement, the name comes in where as soon as you put it on, it kind of hard sticks and tacks. Unless you didn't wait long enough. So we'll try and piece this back together and it'll work until we get a new one. Done. You see how it's just for the top side? So the important seal is this one when we put the filter in. There's your ram air side, so when you're driving down the road, it forces air into that one spot. Is it necessary? No, it's not, but it's there. And they designed it that way. So this seal just keeps some of the crap out when you're driving. So should be good enough to put it on. Maybe it'll not come back off. Sweet. Okay, we're level. The engine's been off for a little bit. We'll check the fluid levels on it. Pull your stick. Make sure your stick shit's clean. Wipe it off before you read it the first time. This stick doesn't come up very often. Because usually as you pull it out, it kind of lubricates itself. This little O-ring seals your dust and shit out of your engine. It's just another open port where every time you check your oil, you introduce contaminants. It's not to discourage you to check your oil, but every time you pull your cap or your stick out, you have an open port to your engine. And we're still below add, so let's put the rest of the oil in.
Sorry, I didn't get close enough. Can you do it one more time?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So it's below the add line. It's right there. It's also on a little bit of an angle on our driveway. So we will put our oil in. Maybe we had a really good drain, which is good. We use all this oil. I can put all the old oil back into it, and we have a storage place for it.
What do we do with the old oil?
Apparently here in the Kootenays, you take it to the bottle depot instead of the dump where we would at home.
The bottle depot.
Not where you dump it in the landfill, but they have a used oil containment where you can dump all your used and unknown fluids into. Let's check that oil level again.
Is that better?
Could be. Looks halfway up. But I don't want to put any more in because we're on such an angle. Okay, so we're just above the add line, but I put 5 liters in. So we'll fire it up again and check it.
Okay. Okay, so we started it, ran it for a few seconds, and now we're gonna check the oil one more time. And then we should be done.
Done.
On to the next thing. I like the way you stick it in there.
That's good. Should. We're still at the add line. But we just shut the engine off and it'll come up a bit more.
Okay.
It's good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.